This time on Road and Race, we give our second-hand Clio a thorough inspection and decide what needs fixing first. Welcome to another episode of Road and Race. On this episode, we are inspecting the Clio.
So I obviously went and bought it.
You went and bought it.
Couldn't do too much of a thorough inspection, so it's down to you.
So yes, whilst you were off driving trains,
Yep.
it was left to me to get under the car and give the car a once-over. So I checked the engine, underneath the car, the exhaust, just everything to make sure it's kind of roadworthy and get an idea of what work we need to do in the future. So first up, I like to go through all the paperwork. There's good news and bad news with this. The good news is that we have the original bill of sale and it details how the car came. More importantly, it shows the optional cup spoiler and suspension was fitted. Also, it shows the car was serviced regularly in the first 3 years of its life. After that, that's when things go a bit wrong. There's an 8-year gap until the next paperwork, and even then the list I was sent by the previous owner doesn't exactly match up with what we got. There are receipts for regular oil changes, spark plugs, bushes, and the cam bell and dephaser change, which is reassuring, but there's no sign of paperwork for the other items such as the clutch and the power steering pump that he claimed were changed as well. There is this mysterious super chips key, though, which implies the car was remapped at some point. We'll have to take it to a dealer to find out what exactly was done. So, on to the inspection. Let's start at the rear. So here we are under the car. It's got the aftermarket exhaust fitted, and there's loads of room over here where the original exhaust used to be. The hanger here probably looks a bit worn out, some cable ties just holding it together there. A little bit of rust here, doesn't seem too bad. Mostly surface, probably clean that up. What is a concern is that here on the flexi brake lines, there's a little bit of rust build up, so have to look at that. Again, looks mostly surface and dirt, and also here on these clips. Maybe the clips will need replacing. Under the car, there's a little bit of surface rust. Now let's move on to looking under the front of the car. Here are the replaced engine mounts in polyurethane, so should be nice and hard in theory, in a lovely bright orange. Here on the sway bar you can see it's quite wet from the rain. Obviously water leaks down here and the paint has rotted away and it's just beginning to rust ever so slightly. Also this sway bar bush is looking a little bit perished. Maybe that explains why some of the slop in the suspension when we're on the track is noticed. This here is the gearbox linkage, and just feel how loose it is. Can you hear that rattling around? That's probably why the gear selector is so loose. It's probably down to this little rubber bush, which is almost completely perished. Look at that, it's completely falling apart in my fingers. Just I poke it and it just completely falls apart. Where the manifold meets the cap, it's also extremely rusty. This could be where the exhaust is blowing. It's also the same down here where this clamp has started to rust away. On the plus side though, whilst the brake hard lines look a bit grubby, they generally seem to be rust free and leak free. And finally, with the wheels off, we can inspect the suspension and brakes. I'm not going to measure the thickness or the condition of the discs and pads as we're going to swap those out anyway. So the rear brake lines use this kind of flexi that is crimped onto the hard lines. I've not seen that before. Could make changing out the rear lines a lot harder. Rear shocks look fine, no leaks from those at all. And the springs look quite clean, quite new really, no rust or build up there, no cracks. Onto the front springs look fine, a bit grubby but look okay. The shocks again aren't leaking. A little bit of surface rust on these areas here. Maybe just needs cleaning up. Front calipers a little bit rusty, again only surface, could do with a nice refurb. Should work fine though. Front hoses look okay, but you can't really be sure of the condition of them. And since brake hoses are cheap, I'll swap those out. Nothing seems wrong with the bushes from kind of a visual inspection, but it might be worth swapping those out for polyurethane ones in the future. And this bush here visually looks okay. Having a quick look at the coolant level. It's between min and max. It probably needs changing because there's nothing in the service history. And quickly looking at the power steering fluid, it's probably a bit overfilled. I might siphon some of that out. Again, that will need changing because there's nothing in the service history. So this is the K-Tech panel filter, the aftermarket filter. Gary said that he'd replaced this recently. Looks fairly clean. To get access to the brake fluid reservoir, we need to take off the engine cover. And it's tucked right down here. This, taking the cap off, is not easy to do. I don't feel this is a great design. This piece of metal here stabs you in the hand, which is always comfortable. So fluid looks pretty clean, but I'm not sure how old it is or what kind of spec it is, so we'll be changing that out anyway. I'll check the engine oil. We're going to replace that soon anyway, but I'll just make sure the level's okay. There you can see it's right at the maximum line, so it's fine.
Right, Neil, so obviously thank you very much for giving the car a once over.
And that was a whole day on my back, basically.
Sorry I couldn't be there. But no, it's been obviously helpful. We've identified a few issues that we need to look into.
I enjoyed doing it, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Should we talk about next week then?
Next week, yeah. So what's planned for next week?
Next week is brake hoses. We're going to change out brake hoses and see if that alone makes any difference at all. Does it stop the car quicker? Does it give a better pedal feel?
Yeah, so some braided hoses.
Yeah. And then it's discs and pads.
So hopefully it should make a difference because the brakes are not that good, are they?
No. So these new discs and pads, do they stop the car quicker? It's basically what we're going to test, and then obviously we'll take them out to the track after that and see how they perform, you know, with that kind of constant heating effect you get on the track.
And also we're going to be fitting those ourselves.
Obviously, yeah.
And just to quickly reiterate, I am a complete novice when it comes to mechanics. So please, when you watch the video, go easy on me.
Don't go easy on Gary.
So yeah, it should be quite interesting.
Yeah, as always, please subscribe if you want to support the show. And if you want any extra bonus content, then all the links to social media are in the description box on the YouTube page.
Yeah, we do appreciate the support, and obviously the more likes and subscribers we get, the more we can do, and the more interesting the videos should become.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll sum up then, so thanks for watching.
Yep, thanks for watching guys, and until next time, we'll see you soon.